Hey everybody, welcome back to Sergeant's Talk TV. Big Mike here.
Jason over here.
That's right. Hey guys, we got a good one for you today. It's about a program I didn't know until I met Glenda that people actually get paid by the VA to take care of their veterans. I didn't know that. I'm so focused on me and the VA that I'm not looking at all these other programs that they had. And I saw this video and I go, wow, there's probably a lot of people out there that are caregivers to veterans that don't even know they're caregivers. I mean, the veterans calling them, honey, spouse, whatever. And then the VA, I watched this and I'm going, they're actually getting paid. I knew Glenda did it because she was on our show, but I didn't know they got paid by the VA to take care of the veteran. So this is something new to me. And I don't know how new it is to you before we met Glenda.
Well, yeah, and honestly, it wasn't. Probably talking to Glenda. I didn't realize at the time that she was part of this actual program. When you sent me the link for the video to watch it, I was like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of like private insurance companies sometimes paying, when there's somebody that is injured enough, the insurance company will pay for a certain amount of time.
Right.
If you're a full-time caregiver, but not, once again, I guess chalking it up for, a benefit the VA has that unless you're in the circle
Exactly.
or part of that program, somebody told you about it, then.
And the other thing is that the VA has so many programs that you don't know about. And the only way you learn about these things is you talk to your caregiver about yours and my situation and what do they have to offer. You got to ask those questions or you're not going to find out about this. I watched Jack Dyer over at Dyer Family Farms. He went up to Oklahoma City to the VA up there, and he walked in there, and they're having this big VA fair with all these vendors that support the VA. Even the Oklahoma Fish and Game was there, telling you all the programs that are involved with them. And that's another video we got to look into because he did a video on that too. So if you want to check out that fair that they had at the Oklahoma VA and see if your VA is offering that wherever you're at, please go check out Dyer Family Farm and check out his visit to the VA because that was huge. I mean, he found out things like he said on there he didn't even know was part of it or they were in cahoots together on it. So, but that's what we're going to do today, guys. I've never seen a live react video. Terry said she's seen one before. I've never seen one. I know a lot of people, they do their react videos and they film it to get everything right. So there might be some bumbling and stumbling here, going back and forth and stuff like that. But
no, hey, not with us.
That's what we did.
There's no script here. You get it as it comes out of our mouth.
Let's say hello to some people in the chat here. All right. I see you want the top or the bottom?
I'm at the bottom already. So
all right, I'll take the top. I don't know what I'm doing here, but my mouse is not working. Oh, there you go. See, this is a Mac, so it has to be backwards.
Oh, yeah. See, I had a Mac for about 4 days, and I'm like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah. Hey, there's Lila Newton was in here, or she hopes she's still in here. There's Joe Fix It For You.
And I see
Christine with Skillin Farms.
I see Ginger at Not For Nothing Homestead.
Yeah.
Neil S.
Hello, Neil.
Got to say hi to Mike Birch. I know he made a comment too about tornadoes in his area, so hopefully he's safe. Man.
We'll talk about that on the second part because we got hit again hard in Oklahoma. There's Tiffany over at Canadian Family Life.
Got Jennifer Ocean Homestead.
Hello, Arlene. Glad you're here. There is our Mississippi family right there. There's Dana.
Got Tim watching with her, so that's good.
Hey, look at there. Angie.
Our duty
Hey,
VA.
we had fun with her at the meetup, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen
VA
Carrie
nurse.
tomatoes that red.
Yeah.
There's Karen Breast.
There's Jennifer Ocean Homestead. She's in here. Thank you for coming. Yeah, let's see. MT Homestead, she's here. TNT, there she is. Tracy's here.
Hey, hey.
DJ's Adventure and Beyond. Hey, DJ.
Ricky
It's
Smith.
Rock.
Hey, Ricky, fellow neighbor. I just got to meet him in person the other day.
All right. Judy Herman's here. Let's see who else is here. Hey. There she is. Rebecca Touched by Yarn.
Thinking she must have had some computer issues because nobody else has said anything about no sound. So.
Oh, okay.
There's
Yogi. You've seen her also to meet up.
We did, and that was awesome. And she was she commented, "Yes, I am excited for Tara to be home tomorrow."
Yeah. Hey, there's Ginger Snap, Not for Nothing Homestead. She was a blast. I'm gonna tell you something, everybody was busy at that meetup. Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't too many moments to.
There's Karen Breast. You said hello to Neil S.
I think I'm seeing Pappy Smurf made it in.
Yeah. Who would understand anything would say, just think they are a nutcase, and many are under a DNA. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that would be hard when they talk about the NDA because, like, you know, you run into a few vets that, you know, they did things in the service, but then they can't talk about it. Like, how does that work, you know, counseling wise, where if they went through something, but they're not even allowed to talk about it?
Yeah.
Got to be extremely difficult and aggravating.
Judy, if your daughter's son, I guess your grandson, was military and he is in the VA and he needs care and stuff like that, then this is the video that you need to watch, or call her and tell her to get on here, because this is going to tell you how and who you have to talk to get into the program to take care of your veteran. So yeah.
Who did I just see that popped it?
Yep, there's the link to Dyer Family Farms video. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, we actually somehow found out that they were doing a VA or a Veterans Fair. I think they were trying to use it as a sign up because they had people there to helping people. You know, if you weren't registered, like say with the VFW or the VA, they had reps there, but they took one of the buildings at the fairgrounds and had all kinds of vendors there. And I think the cool part going through, like for me, like they had a lot where it was like employment services, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't need that. But Tara was getting cards. She's like, well, just in case, like, I was like, well, this looks like a better job fair for you than it is a VA fair for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's nice when you go that it's not just for that veteran, you know, it's for their caregiver, the spouse, you know,
Right.
Whoever goes with them could benefit from going.
Oh, yeah. There's Pappy Smurf.
There's Pappy.
Navy vet. Yeah. Let's see. Hey, there's Webb's in here.
I knew somebody else popped in that we didn't say hi to, and I couldn't figure out, and it was Webb's. No double S's.
Yeah, that's right, Neil. So yeah, hey, I'm kind of excited. I was really motivated about this because I know vets that are here in McAllister that are struggling day to day, and I talked to one yesterday, and I told him about the video and stuff, and he went over there and looked at it and texted me back and said thanks, because his wife's taking care of him. And he just had, I mean, he's got some kind of degenerative bone thing, and he can barely walk and stuff like that. And he's more in a wheelchair than he is walking around and stuff. He's still at the point where he can walk to go to the bathroom and stuff like that, but it's getting worse for him. Yeah, there you go. They work, Christine says they work a lot with their tribal vets. Yeah. And so, guys, we're going to get started with this. We will take breaks, and we'll come in and talk about certain things. We'll be watching the chat, and if you got questions, we'll bring that up when we break in and out of the video. And we just want to share this with you. We'll have comments because this is something new to us also. And again, we wish Grace was here. I'm not Grace. Glinda from Grace and Fire, because she is actually in this program, and we want her, but she is going to the graduation for her son, who is graduating with his master's degree. And they missed his bachelor's degree because of COVID, but they were not going to miss this one. So,
and I don't blame
her. Yeah, for doing that. So let me bring the video up. See, and it'll start. And please take notes on this, guys. All right. And I got to hit that.
Welcome to another episode of the Sit Rep. If you, a friend or family member, is helping to take care of a veteran, did you know VA could potentially help you, the caregiver, with tons of support programs to include receiving a monthly stipend? That's right. But before we dive into the details, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe, which helps the Sit Rep with connecting veterans with the benefits they have earned and deserve.
With us also.
That's right, Paul. And joining us today is Colleen Richardson, a veteran of the United States Navy and executive director of VA's Caregiver Support Program. Colleen, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
So, caregiver support. There's actually caregiver support programs pretty large. I mean, we're talking about like over 50,000 participants or something like that are in the program.
Yeah, we have over 55,000 caregivers and veterans in our program today.
And so what exactly does caregiver support? I mean, it's kind of a vague term. So what does that really entail?
Yeah, so it entails a couple things, really. So we have two programs. One program is the program of general caregiver support, and the other one is the program of comprehensive assistance. So both programs offer all kinds of support services. So education, training, peer support, mentoring, just a variety of things that we think caregivers need to be successful in what they do every single day.
And how many people out there in the audience right now probably fall into the caregiver support program, but don't realize that
I have no idea.
Yeah, that it's there for them, and that there's so many programs that from respite care to health care to travel costs, all that stuff can be taken care of by the VA.
Absolutely. A lot more than people realize. They probably don't even identify as a caregiver. I think a lot of the times people think this is my day-to-day job. This is just what I do to take care of my spouse or significant other. And they're not even recognizing that they themselves are a caregiver. So that's what we're here to help them do and to take care of them so that they in turn can take care of their veteran.
So I think that might be a great jumping off point then, or starting point rather. By definition with the VA, what is a caregiver?
A caregiver is somebody who really just takes care of somebody with their personal care needs. It could be anything from activities of daily living, so dressing, bathing, eating, all those things. And then it could be things like taking care of their finances, shopping, reminding them to take medications. It's all of those things and so much more.
So, Colleen, you spoke about two programs, and they're very distinct. Why don't we talk about the general program, if you will? Kind of explain that, because that's the one that most caregivers are going to qualify for. Is that correct?
That is correct. So if you identify as a caregiver, if you're providing services to your veteran every day, whether it's around medication reminders, whether it's around shopping or just those kinds of services, we want you to apply to this program. And again, it's a simple form that you fill out. We'll do an intake with you. Essentially, we'll assess what it is that you need from our program, and we're going to support you to meet those needs. So we offer training, education, we offer mental health counseling. So if you have a veteran that you're taking care of who has PTSD or traumatic brain injury or Alzheimer's dementia, we have courses that we'll offer to train and teach you more about that particular illness, diagnoses, et cetera. And then we want to support you each step along the way.
But that one is that's very broad. And I want to make sure people understand that doesn't come with any financial support. Like there's no stipend if you're a general caregiver. Is that correct?
That is correct. There is no stipend associated with that program.
So how does one then qualify for the special program or the more intense program that does come with a stipend?
Sure. So that one actually requires an application that you can fill out online. You can go to our website and find that application online. And then there are certain eligibility requirements that you must meet in order to qualify or be eligible for that program. And you can find all of those online. And we really encourage folks to look through that application and the eligibility requirements to see if they meet them. If they're not sure, they can contact our caregiver support line and ask questions around that particular application, and we can help walk through the eligibility requirements with any veteran and caregiver who so needs help.
Pretty much many people qualify just to be a general caregiver.
Correct.
And help their veteran on a daily, weekly, monthly basis as needed. Very, very specific when you get into the more specialized caregiver, which comes with that financial backing. So it's important, as you said, to make sure people go through all that and then ask questions if they need to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so if I onboard as a caregiver, whether it's general or with a more comprehensive program, are there certain classes or trainings or certifications? Like, do I need to be CPR trained or and that kind of stuff?
You do not need to be CPR trained. You don't need to do any of those things. So what we do is, as part of that initial intake when you apply, we actually sit down with you to see what it is that your veteran needs and what skills you may also need in order to better support your veteran in the program.
Right. No, that's awesome. And very, very important. I mean, there's a lot of people are going at this potentially by themselves,
right?
Very little support, depending, especially if, you live in the middle of nowhere, there's very little available to you, whether professionally or what have you. So the process, getting into the care.
So, okay. When we talked about, I don't know how to put us both up there. That one right there. So this is where a lot of people, when I watch this, fall into. They have no idea. They think that this is my job because I'm married to this person, or this is my son, or this is my wife, or whatever, and this is what you do because you're married. And so listening to her, and I will say that when the VA or any government agency says it's a simple form, I kind of hesitate. Okay. I kind of hesitate. But if you live near a VA or you live near a DAV, which there's DAVs all over the place, those are the people that you need to go to and say, hey, I need help. I have a significant other, or I have a child, or I have whatever, and I am taking care of this person. And I heard over at Sergeant's Talk TV that you guys can help me navigate this thing. And the DAV is really, really good at that. Okay. Those old codgers over there, they study this stuff because they use the VA too. Okay. And when they're talking about classes, let's say that your significant other had a certain thing, okay? You can't pass up, yeah, we've got WebMD on the interwebs and stuff like that, but go there, sit through their classes, find out when they have a schedule and stuff like that, and attend those classes to smarten you up on what you're actually doing, because a lot of people are just winging this thing. Okay, they're just winging.
I think one of the things that's like great about going into a class is there's also other resources. Like when they put on a class, they typically have people come from other programs in there, and so you might be going to the class to learn about as the caregiver what that condition that of the veteran you're taking care of. And so part of that, though, is them coming in and also saying, well, not only are we offering you this class, but here's some of these other programs.
Yeah.
Like this one, or, any kind of, and I think she gets into it later on about like respites and stuff like that, where they have so many other things going on. But yeah, and one thing that I liked that she would talked about was, because you mentioned it, like, there is no easy paperwork when the government's involved. Like, none at all. But you can call them.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, with you calling, like, you can even call in if you don't want to drive. Some people are more remote where they don't have access to, a DAV or American Legion or a VFW or anybody that's your local, or even a direct VA liaison, which. Right. I didn't know I had one in my hometown when I first retired until probably 2.5 years, if not more, probably 4. I think it was closer to 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, 3. Yeah. Numbers are hard.
But again, about that training stuff, that's the time to ask your specific questions. I'm going through this. This is what's happening. And you'll get those things answered from the horse's mouth. And that'd be the instructor, the doctors, the counselors that come in and provide that service or that training that you need for your vet. So,
and asking those questions is always the key when you're talking to, even as a caregiver, because obviously you're going into their appointments with them, is talk to that provider. Or if you're going in trying to look for the help, all you've got to ask. They're not gonna, most of the time. I guess I don't want to say they're not going to, because I did have my last doctor in Michigan. He was awesome, and she started throwing all kinds of stuff at me, and I'm like, I don't even know anything about that. She's like,
I'm going to tell you something. Don't go in there timid. Go in there like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah,
man answers and stuff like that. Don't depend that they're, I don't want to interfere or do anything. That's the time to do it. So let's get back into this.
Caregiver Support Program. How does that happen?
Absolutely. So you can go to our website. You can apply if you think you qualify for the program of comprehensive assistance. So those are for our veterans whose needs with activities of daily living or medication management or supervision, protection, and instruction are really severe. They really can't function on their own without the assistance of a caregiver. We encourage our caregivers to apply to that program. You can fill out the application online and submit it that way. And while you're in the midst of that application process, we'll also offer you and really pinpoint other services that you may qualify for. So our program is just one of many ways that we help caregivers support their veterans.
So just to back up though, real quick, the veteran themselves have to be enrolled in VA.
They do have to be enrolled in VA healthcare. That's
so for everybody out there, if you're taking care of a veteran, he or she needs to be enrolled in VA healthcare in order to be eligible for this program.
That's correct. And so you can find all the eligibility requirements online, because between the two programs, the program of comprehensive assistance, there are set criteria or eligibility criteria that you have to meet in order to be eligible for that particular program.
In roundabout, I mean, all right, so the veteran that I love and adore needs help at home. I'm trying to get into the caregiver support program to get that extra support. about how long does the process take? Is it a long wait, or is this something that can happen pretty
So you
quick?
can get into the general program right away. Right away.
Okay.
The program of comprehensive assistance, if you're eligible and qualify, we process 98% of our applications in under 90 days. So it's a pretty quick process to get in
That is
to PCAFC as
VA.
well.
Awesome.
Now, if I'm taking care of a veteran and I become a caregiver, does that deter them from other professional support, either from the VA or from outside? So I guess my question is, once I'm a caregiver, does that mean they're not going to get other services because I'm their caregiver now? Or do they still get, the full gambit of both VA or outside services as deemed necessary?
I think it depends on the particular service. So if you, the caregiver, are providing the in-person personal care services, and we're paying you to do so, you may not qualify for some other services that VA may be offering. We use a tool, if you will, to determine the amounts of services that you may qualify for as you go through the application process. And before you're accepted into the program, we tell you you will no longer qualify for A, B, and C, but you will qualify for D, E, and F. So we try to make it very clear before they make the acknowledgement of, yes, I want to be in, or no, thank you, I want to continue with what I already have. So we can help them through that process.
But it doesn't preclude, obviously, things like, okay, if the veteran is receiving in-home OT, PT, speech, whatever, nursing care, all that continues. You're just their caregiver support person.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So is there a limit as to how many caregivers a veteran can have?
So when you're in the program of comprehensive assistance, you can have up to 2 caregivers. So your primary family caregiver, and then you can have secondary family caregivers as well in the program. The primary family caregiver is the caregiver that we pay through that stipend that I mentioned. The primary family caregiver is the only one, if eligible, that can receive CHAMP VA, beneficiary travel, et cetera.
So you mentioned that some caregivers may be eligible for CHAMP VA. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what exactly is CHAMP VA and how would you be eligible, and what does it give you? Like if I'm eligible for it, so what does it offer me? Yeah.
So CHAMP VA is, and I'm obviously not an expert on CHAMP VA, but CHAMP VA is healthcare for our caregiver. So it's like having health insurance for them if they don't already have health insurance. So if they have health insurance through TRICARE, they wouldn't necessarily be eligible for CHAMP VA. So CHAMP VA really just offers them an opportunity to have health insurance through our program.
So it's kind of a situational thing to, right?
Yeah.
And is that part of the onboarding process?
So this is important. Okay. This is very important. CHAMP VA. There are a lot of veterans out there that have VA, but their spouse does not have insurance. Okay. Because they can't go to work. They're living off his VA check or whatever. This is such a good thing that you're getting health care through CHAMP VA when you may not have had it before you found out about the program. You know what I mean? That is priceless right there. The other part of it, when they're talking about the travel and stuff like that, let's say your veteran has to travel to the VA. I'm almost an hour and a half, 2 hours from the VA. And let's say I couldn't drive. So they give you the mileage going back and forth to the VA. You get it. I get it. They say, hey, do you do the mileage program? Blah, blah, blah. And then you get paid. And I think it's $94 to go to the VA for me if I fill out the paperwork and stuff like that each time you go up there. And then 6 weeks down the road, a check shows up in your mailbox from the VA to cover that. So that's critical. But let's say you have to go to another VA that has a service. It could be in another state or wherever. You may have to go to San Antonio. You may have to go wherever. That will pay for your spouse to go with you. And when they put you up, they put your spouse or your caregiver, whoever it is, up as well on that travel, that when you have to go there and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and that was something I didn't know about until moving here to Arkansas. Was like the main VA clinic is in Little Rock. Well, that's over 3 hours away. And luckily I've only had to go there one time, and then I'm like, nah, find me a local doctor to do this. Like,
right.
But when they called to schedule my appointment to go down there, they actually did ask that, am I able to drive myself, or do I have somebody driving me? I know they provide, I don't know what the distance is, but they can provide to be able to help find you a driver. Like,
Yes.
if you're not able to drive, and then another service that I didn't know about was they actually offer, they've got like a VA hotel or something, some sort of lodging, VA lodging down there, that if I've got to be there at 7 a.m., then I can actually schedule to stay at that, like get that room, that lodging the night before.
Right.
That way I don't have to get up so early to drive the 3 hours. Which for elderly, whether, and that was my thing, was like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine driving that now, but in 20 years, I might not be okay with that. And
there you go. All right.
If you will, with you guys, like you would check their eligibility, and if they are, you would help them.
We get them referred to Champ VA.
Get them into the program.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Earlier in our conversation, you also mentioned respite care, and maybe not everybody out there knows what respite care is, but it's an awesome tool that the VA provides. So if you could kind of dive in that a little bit.
Yeah, so respite is a very underutilized service within our program and across VA as a whole. I think our caregivers are so used to just doing the work day in and day out. They just forget to take care of themselves all the time. It's just not uncommon. So respite is our opportunity to allow them to have a break. So it could be just a couple hours for break. It could be 24-hour care that they potentially need for someone to come into their home and take care of the veteran while they themselves take a mental health break, or take, I don't know about most of our caregivers, but I like to just go to Walmart by myself without my children. That is my respite. All of that, walking around Target or walking around Walmart, whatever it is, a cup of coffee on the back porch, reading a book. Yeah. So we bring folks into the home to help take care of their veteran. So that's one less thing that they can worry about and focus on themselves.
And there's other programs they can take advantage of as well, as like adult day care and
adult
all that kind of stuff.
Veteran directed care, if that's offered at their VA facility, which I know there's a push for that this year. There are a lot of other services that they can take advantage of too, but we offer no less than 30 days a year to support them.
But anybody that's a caregiver, they'll get all this information as they onboard as a caregiver.
Absolutely. So we have an intake process. So when you apply to our program, either one of them, you get an intake. And during that intake, we look at what it is that the needs are of you and your veteran. And then we try to put together a plan for you and tell you what we think is going to be the best services for you to take advantage of, if you will, to help you and your veteran as you go through the program. So we do that right from the outset of the program.
And how malleable is that? I mean, because our health changes
all the time.
So,
absolutely,
as things get better or potentially worse for the veteran that we're caring for, how does the program change? So
we check in with our caregivers and veterans at least once every 120 days, just do a wellness check, find out how things are going for them, what other services that they need. We put consults in for them if they need it, if they're eligible for certain things that they're not getting. We come into their homes to make sure that their homes are safe. We have caregivers, when our caregiver support team comes into the home, identify particular needs that a veteran may have. For example, we just recently had a veteran who couldn't get out of his chair, and the caregiver could not physically lift him out. They put a chair lift in as a consult, and he was able to get that ordered and into the home. So our team does a lot from helping them from all aspects.
Nice.
Yeah.
What should a person, I guess my question is, how bad does a veteran need to be in order for me to qualify for a caregiver? So if somebody out there is saying, okay, yep, I go over and take care of my veteran. They're not, totally housebound, but they do need some help. Do you guys help them determine whether they're qualified or not? Should everybody just, really reach out and see where it stands, and you guys help them make that decision?
Absolutely. So if folks are interested, they can go to our website. And I think right there is where they can figure out which program they may qualify for. So the program of General Caregiver Support Services, anybody qualifies as if you identify as a caregiver. So you can apply to that program. It's really not an application process, if you will. It's just a form that you fill out, and then we call you and we identify what it is that you need for this particular veteran in order to help care for him or her. And then the other program, like I said, it has certain eligibility requirements that you have to meet. It is for our more moderate to severely veterans who need caregivers. But if you identify as a caregiver, we will help you in our program.
Okay. And I think that's important because there's probably people out there saying, well, my veteran isn't that bad.
Correct.
You know, I do have to go over there so many days a week or whatever, but you know, he or she can take care of themselves most of the time, but they still may be eligible under the, like you said, the basic one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we want to support them no matter what. So, yep.
So if you're taking care of a veteran, go to the website and figure out, you know, exactly whether you qualify or not.
And I think a lot of the times too, our caregivers need the training and resources too. So as our veterans are aging, we have more of our veterans with facing ALS, MS, dementia, Alzheimer's, et cetera. We offer groups to teach our caregivers more about these particular diagnoses, including PTSD, traumatic brain injury, et cetera, so that they know what they need to do to be better at caregiving. And most of our caregivers do a tremendous job, but I think the more tools we give them in their toolbox, the better off they're going to be in the long run and feel more supported by us. And that at the end of the day is our primary goal. Let me support you so you can do what you need to do each and every day.
And I imagine, because you've spent some time in the private sector, we won't name drop or anything, but this has got to be an entirely unique program to the VA. I can't imagine that there's anywhere else, because even off camera, we were discussing you were discussing the fact with us that there's mental health care and all sorts of other things that are available for caregivers. If you want to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I think is a no-brainer is our caregivers are stressed. Taking care and being a caregiver is a very tough and difficult job to do. And some of our caregivers do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no break for them. And so we know, and we've heard, and I've done some listening sessions with our caregivers across the country in the last year, they've said, we need mental health too. And while we offer it at our local VA medical facilities, a lot of our veterans also need that care. So the shortage of there's just not enough providers for everybody. So what my program office is doing this year is funding our own mental health providers for these caregivers. So we hope to have that. We're going to offer it through virtual resource hubs. We've partnered with the Office of Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. We're going to hire 54 mental health providers dedicated solely to our caregivers so that we can get them the help and the support that they need through mental health counseling.
Nice.
Yeah, because I would imagine, you talked about the everyday stressors, but I know in my personal situation and both my family and my wife's family, it wasn't only the daily care, but there's other things that come into play, financial decisions and groceries and what are dietary considerations. You don't realize just how in depth it can become very, very quickly. And then the stresses of dealing with other family members who may not agree or understand what you're doing with the veteran or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely a job, not for the, that's tough on everybody every single day.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So just to get back in there, I seen Lila's comment in here that, so my mother is an Army vet. I'm a Navy vet. I could be getting paid for other things from the VA. How did I not know about this? Exactly. And that is the main reason we wanted to bring this segment to everybody. And if you know somebody that's not in here, but they are veterans or a spouse of a veteran or a child of a veteran that's taking care of them, this is so critical. Okay. This is a daunting task mentally, okay? When they tell you they're going to give you 30 days annual, okay? I need a break. I need a day off of the work schedule because my veteran is an old cantankerous fart, okay? And he is just trying my patient. I need a me day. What a great program, okay? To go in there and ask for that help. The other part of it is you're there saying, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, trying to get him into the bathtub and this and that. Okay. I know people that they put in one of those walk-in bathtub things for them for the veteran. You got to come forward. Like I said earlier, you have to be a bull in the china shop, and you have to go after the VA and say, I need this. My veteran, yada, yada, yada. I can't pick him up to get him up and over into the bathtub. And so they got one of those walk-in tub things installed into their house because the veteran needs to be bathed and stuff like that. So it is, I understand that part. And if you're a caregiver and you've got children, and if you've raised children all by themselves, it's a full-time task for a mom or a dad or whoever's at the house. And then you got to take care of a veteran on top of that. This program is vital for those people. And I know we know people out there. If it's not you, you know somebody that's in that situation. And this is why they need to watch this video to get that crucial information.
Yeah, and I think, and you know, I'm glad to hear that she said that, and I think that is a great idea and resource because, which I see my bride is in here, so
yes, she is.
Talked about it a lot, where a lot of times a caregiver ends up going before the person they're caring for because the amount of stress and especially when they're a 24/7 dealing with it day in and day out, you know, and a lot of that big focus being on, you know, if that veteran that they're the caregiver for has any kind of mental health, you know, situations, it's just daunting on the caregiver. Like they have to do, you know, everything they can and have that game face on 24/7 and they get exhausted. So for them to offer a program or offering the services of mental health for the caregiver, you know, in a combination of the respite, I mean, you know, we talked about it in one of our early videos of, you know, taking care of the families, you know, in the things of stepping up. And I think this is just another way that the VA is trying to expand it. You know, I mean, obviously, like she's new coming into bringing this service in. Did they say how long has this program been going? I don't know if they said. How long has this program been going on?
I didn't hear him say how long it's been going on. The only thing I got was right now there's only 55,000 people enrolled in it, and I think that number is way too low. I bet you there's people that number. If everybody learned about it and they just send out a mass email, I'm sure their numbers would just skyrocket to no end. Because at 55,000, with the number of veterans that are in the VA system, come on. And we got an aging force in the VA. So, yeah. My question is, service to help us with housing. See, I don't know that part. I don't know that because, and I don't know if the VA gets into that part of it for the housing part, because there's some people, I mean, they will do things like your parent may be bedridden, so they bring in a special bed just for him so you can move him around, you can put him in different positions and stuff like that because the body needs to move. Okay. You got to be able to keep the person in the bed or what. I don't know what the situation is, but I don't know that might be something to ask the VA if you ever go to the VA, or, you know, ask the caregiver, hey, can you direct me in a direction for housing if there is some? I don't know. Yeah. I know they do have housing in Muskogee. If you're there for a long-term stay, they have houses across the road that family can stay in, so they can, like your caregiver, they can stay in those cottages and stuff like that while they're in there. But I don't know about regular housing. I don't know that. But that's a good question.
And that's definitely, you know, that's a question to ask, you know, the provider. Because kind of like you're saying, is depending on that VA, what, you know, where it's at, what's like every VA they have the base stuff that they cover, but for programs like that where long-term stay cottages or, like, I don't think they had, maybe Battle Creek did back in Michigan, but I never knew about a lodging, but that was one of the first things they said when I went to the Little Rock one was, right. And so I think it all depends on that individual VA clinic and what they're funded for or what their programs they have.
Yeah. Hang on one second.
I have added info.
Okay, Terry's going to speak. This is Terry speaking, our producer.
I'm here somewhere. Anyway, 2010 is when they started this.
Okay.
And it was originally for 9/11.
Right. She did say that.
Yeah, for all the soldiers after 9/11. They are expanding it now, though.
Okay.
So in 2022, they've expanded it. So
okay,
there you go.
Thank you.
If you think about what we do every day as humans without caregiving, that's daunting enough these days. And then you add taking care of somebody on top of taking care of your children, managing your finances, cleaning your house, grocery shopping, going to work.
Right.
Then you add this on top. And it's not that anybody sees it as a burden. It's just like, it's just one more thing. And so if we can alleviate one thing for you, that's what we're going to try to do. And I think to your point, you said something about like finances.
Right. Taking care of the veterans, somebody has to do it now.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the things that we offer in the program of comprehensive assistance is legal and financial services. So planning, estates, wills, et cetera. We offer that to help our caregivers and our veterans manage some of those things.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's really big.
Yeah.
I know personally that's the one that trips everybody seems to get all nervous when you start talking about end of life and finances. And
those are tough discussions to have with anybody at any point in the game.
And a lot of veterans don't want to have those conversations. They're obstinate about many of those decisions.
Yeah, it's a tough discussion.
True.
So speaking of finances, something that we've kind of hinted to or alluded to quite a few times is the fact that some caregivers may qualify to receive a stipend from the VA, which is kind of bananas. Mm-hmm. So if you could talk more about that, how does it work and who qualifies?
Absolutely. So this was something that was enacted many years ago when our post 9/11 veterans were coming back from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. What the program in Congress realized at the time was that these caregivers, if you will, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, were taking care of folks, but giving up their careers to do so. You can't survive if nobody's making any money, right? The veteran is no longer on active duty. The caregiver is no longer working. So they put a stipend together. And so it depends on the area. It's paid on a GS4 pay scale. And then you get the locality pay like you would with any area in which you live. So if you live in San Francisco, obviously that money is going to be a little bit higher to meet the cost of living there versus if you live in a small rural town, that the cost of living associated with a GS4 will be a little bit lower.
And is it also the onboarding process? Like you'll take them through all of that and assist them with doing it? And
absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're interested, again, the 10 steps and all the things that you want to know about this program, specifically the program of comprehensive assistance, is on our website. So you can go through and you can check yourself. Do I meet 70% service connection? Is my caregiver over the age of 18? Are we going to reside in the United States or one of the U.S. territories? All of those things they have to look at to see if they qualify for. And we encourage them to do so before they apply to the program. And again, if the answer is, no, I don't really qualify for that program, that's okay. We're going to take you into our other program and we're going to help you no matter what.
So this is a program that can be utilized in Guam, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico.
Northern Marianas. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Washington, D.C.
Washington.
Let's talk about if, I'm a caregiver and now my veteran has to go into the hospital, whether it be for surgery or for something else. And now they're going to have an extended stay at a medical facility. What does that do to me as a caregiver? How does that affect my status?
Yeah. So again, if you're in the program of comprehensive assistance, that's the one that's associated with Champ VA, the stipend, Benny travel, et cetera. What we say is if you know that the veteran is going to go into the hospital, and we know from the outset it's going to be greater than 90 days, then you more than likely will no longer qualify for the program because you are no longer providing those caregiver services. The other entity or hospital or facility or wherever he or she is going is providing those services. I think it gets unique in every situation because some veterans go in and they don't know how long they're going to be there.
Right.
So at that point is when we make the decision on the 90th day. of institutionalized care, whether that's, hospital care, mental health care, et cetera, that's when a decision will be made as to whether or not the veteran is no longer qualified and or the caregiver for that particular program. So we try to look at them at each uniquely, right? We try not to make too many determinations up front, but if we know that a veteran is going to go into a neurorestorative facility for greater than 90 days, let's say 120 days, then that veteran and caregiver will be discharged from the program at that point. They can always reapply in the future if they feel like they qualify for the program in the future, or the veteran is no longer living outside of the caregiver's care.
Colleen, really, really appreciate you coming on the show. Lots and lots of great information. And you said there's a support line. You have the website, which is chock full of information, right? And we'll have details for all that stuff down in the video description below. So be sure to check it out. And remember, there's 2 different programs. One is, kind of basic. One is way more comprehensive. So go through it. See what it is that you might be able to utilize to take care of your loved one at home. And as always, make sure that you like and subscribe so that we can make sure that you stay connected with the benefits you.
Okay, there you go. Hey, and that is true. That's the hook. Because not everybody does it happen to when you have to go into hospitalized care. But again, the program is built around taking care of the vet in their home or your home or whatever. So that's the hook in it. And she did say it takes, up to 90 days for a new application. I don't know what it would be if you've already been qualified for it and your service member came home, your veteran came home, and you say, hey, he's coming home. Can I get a jump on this? Because we know he's getting discharged in this many days or whatever. Can you start doing my paperwork? Those are questions that need to be asked when and if that situation ever came around. Part of this thing is there are veterans homes closing all the time. We had one that they're closing down. They're closing down several of them and combining them and stuffing them in these veterans homes. And this is a way to keep, if you've never been to one, this is a place to keep them out of that madhouse. They do the best they can with what they got there. But when you go to a place, and we used to go to one, we did a bike show at one to get the guys outside in their wheelchairs and stuff like that. And we brought hundreds of bikes and stuff like that for them. And we made them the judges of the bikes, who won the contest and all that kind of stuff. And then sitting down and talking to veterans. Okay. And that's one of our jobs as veterans in the organization I belong to, which is Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, CVMA. We ride out there to the veterans home just to sit for the afternoon and talk to them. All right. Listen to their stories and stuff like that. We do poker runs and bike runs, and to part of your payment to get in, you need to bring in a pack of T-shirts or a pack of underwear and a pack of socks. And there you go. And we take all that to the veterans homes and stuff like that, because they only get so many of each one. Okay. And the money that they make, Social Security and stuff like that, goes to the home and stuff like that. So we go out there and we talk to them and we ask them, hey, what would you want? We need something bigger than a 55-inch TV because I can't see nothing. I got my cataracts and stuff like that. And then we did that for them and things like that. So there's always something you can do for a veteran. Always, always, always. But this thing right here, like I said earlier, guys, we absolutely felt that there was an audience that needed to hear this program in there. And like I said earlier, Jack Dyer over at Dyer Family Farms, he did a video.
Hi, Jack.
Is he in here?
He is.
And he had some great information that he got at the fair, the VA fair up in Oklahoma City. And if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. And I wanted to do a react video on that and stuff like that. But if you don't ask, you will not know, because a lot of things are just not volunteered. Okay. They say, oh yeah, we got all these programs and there's people making good paychecks to run these programs. And again, 55,000 people enrolled in this program, I think is way too low because people don't know about it. And you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think probably the biggest thing out of this, our video tonight and doing this react is if you take anything away from this whatsoever, is start asking those questions, whether it's for yourself, whether it's, you as a caregiver, a family member, something like that. I actually just kind of got myself into that same situation. I have a great uncle that he's not even using VA services yet. He's 21 years retired. Like he had he got at least 20 years, retired out of the Air Force.
Yeah.
And he's got a VA card, but he doesn't go use, he's got and I was just talking to my mom because she's there as the caregiver. And I'm like, why is he not using this? Why isn't, and it's a lot of it because he went, he retired and then he went and worked several different jobs, full-time careers, beyond his military career. And back when he retired, I think, he retired in what, 1979, I think it was.
That's when I went in.
Well, I always laugh at him when we talk because I'm like, you retired after 20 years of Air Force before I was even born.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they weren't giving these types of services back then. And so many of these veterans now, back in his era, Vietnam, those types of things, they don't even know that they have these options. And I see Lila commenting, between her and her mom both being veterans and not getting certain services. And, so back at it of go in to the VA and just start flooding them with the questions.
Break
what
down
can you
doors.
do? And because there are services, and I see David Moffat has been having issues, since 94. If you don't get the answer from one person, then you beat down doors until you find there's a command, there's a whole hierarchy of that stuff. If you don't get that answer, and then go to another clinic, change. If you're not happy in the current situation, I did it when I first moved to Michigan. I spent 3 years going to a horrible VA clinic, and through some outside resources, I found out that, hey, there's another clinic I could go to. And I went there, and it was a night and day difference.
Yeah. And I will tell you that if you go to a VA, the first thing you should ask the guy at the front door is, where's the administration office? That's where you start at. You go there to hospital administration and you start asking questions. This is my situation. Again, we do, the people that came back from Vietnam, used and abused over there and not appreciated when they came home, and they didn't want nothing to do with the military after that. Now they're suffering. There's no time like now to get your veteran to the VA and get him registered, get him enrolled, get a medical examination, make sure that you can get his service record of whatever his 214. You can write to St. Louis to the where they store all the records and stuff like that, or whatever. They've got to have something in their house that says they were in the military. You can find it. They know where it's at, and get them enrolled, especially if you're taking care of them. Okay. Get them the health care they need and they deserve. And with that, I'm glad we could present this to you guys tonight. And yes, hey, we made it 1 hour. Okay. Amazing. It's amazing. Hey, and if you want a Sergeant's Talk TV shirt, or a beautiful coffee mug. You can, because a lot of people have been asking me, and we gave some away at the meetup, guys, and people want them. Please go to MT Homestead on our merch store. We put everything down there. I did that just because I didn't want to pay and do another merch store for another channel. So it's in there. We got the price down to the rock bottom, and I guess we're just paying the people that manage our merch store to get these shirts, because we want you guys to have them if you want them. That's up to you. But I just want you to know that, because people have been asking me for a shirt or a coffee cup because they didn't get drawn at the meetup. If you're going to the Arkansas Valley Homesteaders YouTube meetup at Blue Mountain Lake later this month, in fact, what is it, like a week and a half away or something like that? We're going to have some more tumblers. Didn't you have a tumbler? All right. We're going to be giving away those tumblers right there. We're going to be giving away coffee cups. And I hope you guys can see us there. We'd love to chat with you guys if you're there. Hey, we might even pose for a picture. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm glad you guys came along for this ride. I hope you enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see you next week. Is next week? No, that's prior to the meetup, so we're good. So, guys, we love you. Be kind to one another, and always think of that. Brother, anything from you?
You got it all covered.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in, and we're going to see you next week. All right, guys.
See ya.
Bye.